Hope you enjoy listening to the story. When I discovered the album, I was cleaning the house for my son. It turns out that my husband, Mr. Tam Chi Chow, had a fixed month of work every year, which was actually the time he and his first love spent wandering around the country. From the age of 50 to 75, from the Snow White by Fu School to the white sand and clear water of Hainan Island, from green hair to gray hair, they had gone through half of their lives together in the blink of an eye. That afternoon, I sat on my chair for the whole afternoon, just wondering what I had been doing for the past 25 years. Having 3 meals a day, taking care of my in-laws, and raising my children, I was always busy with one thing after another. When my children grew up and got married, I took care of their husbands and grandchildren. On Friday afternoons, my son and his family drove out for the weekend. Before leaving, my nephew asked me to put his pet cat in his lap. Of course I agreed, smiling and telling him to rest assured and enjoy himself. After changing the cat's food and cleaning the litter box, the wind blew through, stirring up dust on the table. I sighed, picked up the apron and started cleaning. The album was placed on the coffee table in the living room. I flipped through it, thinking it was my nephew's photo. But no, it was like a travel diary. Each photo was a different scene, but the people in the photo were always the same couple. They stood side by side in front of the camera. Their hair was gray and wrinkled, but their smiles were full of life. From the cold Baishan School to the warm Hainan Island, from the Mingmen grassland to the moonstream in the desert, all 4 seasons, all over the country. My hands were shaking so much that I could barely hold the photo. The latest photo shows 2 people holding hands in front of a white waterfall pouring down from the clouds. On the back is a handwritten line. Quzhong Lu Chao, like silver pouring down from the sky. Taken by Shinjizhou Chan Wan, September 2023. It was indeed his handwriting. I recognized it immediately. The 2 of them, one in a blue shirt, the other in a blue cheongsam, standing in the middle of the rugged mountains. Despite the wrinkles at the corners of their eyes, they were still as beautiful as a match made in heaven. But Shinjizhou is my husband of nearly 50 years, and Chan Wan is the first love of his youth that he could never have. I remember that blue shirt clearly. Last September, he said he would go to another province to teach. Before I left, I ironed every shirt for him, including this one. I continued to flip through the album, 1 photo per year, never cutting it short. Sometimes there was poetry on the back, sometimes a few handwritten lines of emotion. Finally, there was a yellowed photo of the 2 of them when they were very young, taken at Snow White Mountain School. The writing was blurred, but the strong brushstrokes were still clear. If one day they were to walk in the snow together, then this life would be considered to have begun together. Shinjizhou Chan Wan, November 1998. That's right, from youth to old age, from black hair to white hair, they really lived together for their entire lives. How ridiculous! The husband I had lived with for nearly half a century, a famous 75-year-old doctor, turned out to use his work as an excuse to travel to the same province every year. From the age of 50 to 75, my chest felt like it was on fire. The pain was so intense that it reached all the way to my internal organs, and it felt like a storm was coming, making it impossible for me to open my eyes. I just wanted to call Shinjizhou right away and ask him what was going on. But then, 25 years, how could he lie to me for 25 years? Holding the phone, my whole body felt drained of strength. Tears fell like rain, my hands and feet were cold. The sun gradually disappeared behind the mountain. The whole world suddenly became dark. I sat down on the floor, lost in thought. How did my life turn out like this? It was already dark. Shinjizhou called me several times, urging me to go home. I put the album in my bag and trudged home. The 10-minute journey took me half an hour. When he got home, he was sitting in front of the computer, intently writing a report. Even though he was old, he still sat up straight and serious. His working style was no different from when he was young. He just got home at this hour. What took him so long? He didn't even cook dinner. I looked at the empty dining table, then at the cold kitchen, and couldn't help but laugh. If I don't cook, he probably doesn't know how to cook. He's surprised and misses you. What's wrong? Are you in a bad mood? Is your son making you sad again? If you're not happy, let's go out to eat. Next week I have to go away again, and I have to bother you to look after the children alone at home. Come on, let's rest a bit today, enjoy the freedom of our youth. I watched him close the computer, go to the door to change his shoes. Although her face was clearly showing the traces of time, her eyes and gentle features were still the same as ever. Can I not go? What? I said don't go. Not just this time but from this year onwards don't go anymore. He raised his eyebrows and looked puzzled. What are you talking about? This is my job, you know that. For professors like me, teaching everywhere is a normal thing. Shinjijo, I am 75 years old this year. I said softly, moreover, are you really just going to teach? Actually, you didn't need to go a long time ago. He paused, looking at me strangely. What do you mean? You're doubting me. Don't you watch the news? Every time I go to lecture, there's a news report. That's right, over the years, every time Shinjijo goes on a business trip, there's always a news report, so I never suspected anything. So I've been fooled by him for 25 years. I used to think that since his job was so hard, I would take care of the housework so that he wouldn't have any worries behind. As husband and wife, we should understand each other. I think that's right. Tam Tri Chow and I don't have a deep, dramatic love like in the movies, but we always respect each other. And in the past 50 years, we rarely raise our voices. I used to believe that this was a kind of marital bliss. I looked up at him and saw the anger and annoyance in his eyes. At that moment, I suddenly felt so bored. I took out the album. Shinjijo, is this interesting? He glared, almost snatching the album from my hand, his voice rising. You dare to rummage through my things? Muyun, we are husband and wife for life and you are investigating me? I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. He and Tranguin indeed had feelings for each other when they were young. But now they were just old friends reminiscing about the past. In a lifetime, is it possible that one does not even have the right to reconcile with the past? At this age, what do you think we can do? Mokvan, you are really unreasonable. In my whole life I have seen his back countless times. When a child in a blue and white coat entered the operating room, woke up in the middle of the night to write a report, it became a habit and then finally, it was framed by his back today when he led the demon out of the house. A feeling of emptiness and sadness suddenly arose in my heart. Tam Tri Chow and I entered the first Cold War in more than half of our marriage. He came home very late that night. As soon as he entered the house, he saw the empty dining table and the dark lights. He didn't say anything, just coldly slammed the door to the study. In the following days, I didn't cook or do his laundry anymore. There was only food for one person on the dining table. He left the house early every day in silence and returned late at night. A basket full of dirty clothes, shirts that I had ironed were now crumpled into a pile. When my son returned from a trip, the whole family came to visit me. Grandma, here are the sachets I bought for you, one for Grandpa. My 7-year-old grandson, with a childish voice, handed me 2 sachets. I smiled softly, patted his head and said, Thank you, little Tran. Honey, go play in your room for a while. The daughter-in-law said softly and turned to me to ask, Mom, we've been away for a few days, are you and Dad doing okay at home? I lowered my head and picked up some food, not saying anything. My son, secretly grumbling, couldn't hold it in any longer and interrupted, Mom, what the hell are you making a fuss about? As soon as he opened his mouth, he was already blaming, his voice filled with impatience. It's true that Dad left the album at my house. Wasn't he afraid that Mom would see it and be upset? Mom is old, does she need to accept such trivial love affairs? Mom is making such a big deal out of it, isn't it for outsiders to laugh at? Besides, does Mom know how much Dad has sacrificed for our family in his life? He's old now, so what if he remembers the past? I've met Ms. Tran before. She's very understanding and polite. He kept dancing, I sat quietly listening, waiting until he put his favorite dish in the bowl. I suddenly stood up, carried the whole dish and poured it into the chopsticks. I secretly watched the missed piece with my eyes wide open. Mom, what's wrong with you? What the hell are you doing? The daughter-in-law pulled on her husband's sleeve as if to stop him. He got even angrier, squeezed it and threw the chopsticks on the table. Okay, if you don't want to cook for your child, then don't cook at all. It's like this house lacks Mom's meals. Dad is so right, Mom is so unreasonable. Having said that, he pulled his wife and son's hand and quickly walked out the door. The boy was still sitting in the room reading, suddenly pulled, his eyes red, about to cry. I suddenly remembered, when he was the same age as my nephew now, my son also stopped his small face, intending to tell me that when he grew up, he would buy the world's best things for his mother. It turns out that people's hearts are the easiest to change. Even the children you raise yourself are no exception. When I was raising my child, because the judge was too busy, I didn't have time to take care of him, so I raised him day by day. At that time, the person he loved and was closest to was me. Now that Mr. Tam is successful and famous, and can protect his son's future and status, he is naturally more important than me. In the middle of the night, I woke up to go to the bathroom and accidentally saw Mr. Tam sitting in front of the washing machine, his face confused as he fumbled with the buttons. When he saw me, he wanted to say something but stopped. I turned back to the room. He called me in a hoarse voice, his voice hiding a bit of his age. "Oh yes, my clothes are all dirty, I have nothing left to wear." I shook my head, walked over to help him press the wash button. The machine started to supply water and run. "Sorry, oh yes, it was my fault for hiding it from you all these years." He bowed his head, continued speaking with a small cup. "But trust me, I never intended to break up my family." I looked at him for a long time, then sighed softly. "Let's get a divorce, Tam Tri Chow." He raised his head quickly, his cloudy eyes sparkling. Ever since I had been honest with the magistrate, the lump in my chest had seemed to have been lifted, and my whole body had suddenly become unusually alert and light. He and I were 5 years apart in age, and we had met through a matchmaker. At that time, he was a newly graduated medical student, and I was an ordinary office worker. It was called matchmaking, but there was also a bit of real affection. I knew that during his university days, he had a 3-year relationship, which ended up breaking up because the girl's family objected. He told me everything about what happened with Tran Nguyen, saying that the past was over and he couldn't keep it, that he wanted to look to the future. I nodded in agreement, and then we got married. One step was 50 years. When the district magistrate was still an intern, all his time was spent on work, studying data with his supervisor, attending surgeries in the operating room, examining patients, doing night shifts. All the housework fell on my shoulders. At that time, his salary was very low, and I did not dare to quit my job. During the day, I went to work, and at night I took care of my seriously ill mother-in-law and my young child. Even in her last days, I was by her side every day, seeing her close her eyes in peace. At that time, he ran back from the operating room in a state of panic, holding my hand trembling. "Oh yes, luckily you were there." After that, he began to achieve some success and life gradually became easier. I used to think that our life would just pass by peacefully, and that hardships would eventually lead to peace. Unexpectedly, when I was 70 and he was 75, we still could not continue together. Before I retired, I worked as an accountant, calculating countless books all my life. But in the end, I had to calculate the division of assets after 50 years of marriage. I moved to a small apartment under my name and left the divorce papers to the Buffalo judge. He held the thin piece of paper. Speechless for a long time, I said, "It's okay. The law gives 30 days to think it over, take your time." When I packed up, I threw away a lot of old things. The things that I had been reluctant to part with for decades. When I actually put them in my pocket, I felt lighthearted. Perhaps this is what people call letting go. After my son found out that I wanted a divorce, he sent me dozens of voice messages. I only listened to a few, all of them blaming me for being unreasonable, unwise, and selfish, so I just ignored them. Perhaps to make me look bad, since I moved out, my children have never come to visit me once. At the age of 70, I suddenly have a rare period of free time. After a few days of rest, I signed up for a tour. I went to Beijing to visit Tiananmen, then followed the route north, spending exactly 30 days. Without having to be stingy with my spending, I discovered that traveling is truly fun and relaxing. I took pictures of the scenery along the way, followed the young people, and posted a selfie in front of Tiananmen on social media. Surprisingly, the post received many likes, including from Chi Trao. He even commented, "Oh yes, have fun and take care of your health." Many mutual friends also left comments below, all of them admiring and praising the strong relationship between me and him. After that, he sent me quite a few private messages, sometimes asking where the things in the house were, sometimes showing off the bowl of noodles he cooked himself, sometimes sending weather forecasts, reminding me to bring an umbrella and dress warmly. I did not reply to any messages. My heart was completely calm, without a trace of emotion. When I finished my journey and returned, I met an uninvited guest. When Tran Nguyen came to find me, I finally realized that something was wrong. Zhou even said he would go on a business trip next week, but more than a month has passed and he still hasn't left. It turns out that it was because he was unlucky this year that Chan Wan came all the way to this city. She sat across from me, smiling gently, wearing a high-quality cheongsam, Her appearance no longer youthful, but her demeanor exuded the dignity she had experienced in the past 5 months. Compared to her, I was just like an ordinary old lady. People say that what you don't have in your youth will become a lifelong obsession, and a person who can't have it is a disgrace. So it's not surprising that Chow saw her as the white moonlight in his heart for the rest of his life. You are Mok Van, right? You are younger than Chi Chow, which means you are also younger than me, so you have to call me little sister. She smiled, her eyes curved. Sorry, I caused you and Chi Chow to have a conflict because of me. I kept silent. She kept her gentle smile and spoke softly. Mok Van, you really don't need to worry too much. Between me and Chi Chow, it was just a promise from decades ago. Maybe you don't know, when we were in college, he and I promised to travel the world together. The class of 1998 made us realize that we were getting old. If we didn't go, we might not have another chance. It's funny to say, the promise of 20 years old only starts to be fulfilled when one is 50. I also smiled, a slow smile. So you came all the way here, sitting across from me just to tell the story of the two of you. Mok Van, marriage is marriage, love is love. You've lived half your life, how could you not know the difference? You may not believe it, but Chi Chow and I never intended to hurt you. Her voice was slow, her eyes seemed to be smiling, but in that smile I saw a hidden challenge. I stood up, paid for my coffee, looked straight into her eyes and spoke seriously. I don't know if marriage and love can be separated, but I think both you and Tam Chi Chow could have made it clear to me from the beginning. As for an old man, if you like him, I'll give him to you. I've never had coffee before, and it's not to my taste, but since you've come all the way here, I should still treat you well. Also, it's really pitiful for you being the third person for so many years, enduring the humiliation of being a mistress, and living into old age still being the third person. I laughed again. I couldn't blame her. Like she said, if she didn't come now, it would be too late. Her expression changed immediately, and I turned around and left. But right in front of the coffee shop, I caught sight of Chi Chow, his face pale. He raised his hand to stop me. Oh yes, you. I took a step back. Did you sign the papers? His hand fell silently, his voice quiet. It's not what you think. Do you really want this? We've lived our whole lives together, isn't that enough? Even Chow, when will you dare to take responsibility for once in your life? I laughed back. At 20, you didn't dare to stand up and fight for love, because you were afraid your parents would object. At 50, you're successful, but you still don't dare to be honest about marriage and adultery. At 75 years old, he still lacks courage and doesn't dare admit his mistakes. He's always been the type of person who hides behind women, wanting everything and not wanting to lose anything. But in this life, is anything that easy? He stood there, his expression always drawn, as if he was startled and couldn't react. In the end, even Chow signed the divorce papers. My son, overcome with lust, couldn't help but call and yell hysterically. Mom, I really don't understand what you're thinking. At this age, they are getting divorced. The house that Mom built all her life. How can she just say she wants to leave? As for the division of property, Dad is spoiling Mom too much. Mom, look at yourself, is it fair to divide it like that? Most of the money in the house is earned by Dad, why did you take so much? I calmly replied. You're over 30, you must have heard the phrase common property of husband and wife. Also, think about it, in the first 20 years of your life, who took care of this house? And even if Mom is fake, she's only 70, 70 is the time to bury her in the ground. He was speechless, then he raised his voice. Yes, Mom had contributed, but at most her work was like that of a maid, who could be hired if she had money. Yet she still wanted to share as much of the property as Dad. I laughed angrily. Tamduk, you really gave birth to the wrong child. Your father was the one who was wrong. It was worth it to divorce and not take anything with you. Instead of arguing with your mother, you should worry about the future. When Ms. Tran comes into the family, your father's remaining small fortune will have another legal heir. Oh yes, your mother is really cold-blooded. Ms. Tran is sensible, unlike your mother who only cares about money. No wonder your father chose her and not your mother. I didn't want to hear anything more, so I hung up. Half a month later, I saw Tamduk post a family photo online. Tran Yuan sat in the pose of Tam Chi Chow, holding my nephew's hand. The whole family of 5 looked very warm and happy. In the description, my son wrote, Dad is my lifelong role model. Half a lifetime later, true love is always there. The post immediately received countless likes. One outstanding comment made it to the top. A few years ago, when I was traveling in Guangxi, I met Professor Shun and his wife. At that time I saw the two of them being so affectionate, it was truly admirable. Afterwards, many other people commented, saying that they had seen the couple in this place and that place. The comments were like pieces of a puzzle, reassembling the story of the old album. The love story between Tam Chi-Chao and Tran Yuan climbed straight to the top of the hot search. Netizens called them the real-life embodiment of holding hands until old age. Tam Duk sent me a message. See, a happy family blessed by the whole internet was abandoned by my mother. I was really speechless, so I texted back. The two mothers also posted the divorce papers online to let everyone know that their true love was actually a secret affair that lasted for decades. The screen showed that the other party was typing, but I waited for more than 10 minutes and still got no response. Of course, I didn't actually do it. Partly because I have been married for 50 years, I can't bear to push him to the end. Partly because I am only 70 years old. If I live happily and eat moderately, I believe I still have enough time to enjoy all the good things out there. I don't want to waste my remaining precious years on people and things that are not worth it. Life was peaceful with me, but on Tam Chi-Chao's side, jealousy began to grow. After I moved out, Tran gracefully moved in with him. At first, everything went smoothly, and Tam Chi-Chao welcomed the white moonlight of his life back. Her son found Mrs. Tran elegant and classy, and her grandson also liked her because of her gentle voice, calling her grandma all day long. But someone needed to take care of the house, and Tran Yuyan had lived a life of luxury since she was young, and had never done any housework. So her son quickly hired a maid. The housework was fine, but she still needed someone to take her grandchild to school. My daughter-in-law was not comfortable leaving her child with a maid, so my son had to ask Tran Yuyan. She smiled gently and agreed, telling the young couple to go to work with peace of mind. For that, my son was very grateful. I told you Miss Tran is the easiest person to talk to. She and Dad are both intellectuals, not like those stubborn old people. But after only a few days of taking her to and from school, Tran Yuyan almost lost my grandchild. That day after school, she took her grandchild to the mall and was attracted by the clothing store. In just one turn, the 7-year-old child disappeared without a trace. She panicked, called the security guard and even the police. Luckily, I finally found you on another floor. Both happy and angry, she yelled at you. Without saying anything, wait for me in the back store. She only tried on 2 shirts for a few minutes. Where did you run off to? At that moment, my daughter-in-law arrived and witnessed everything. Although she remained calm on the outside after returning home, she immediately forced her husband to come to my house to apologize. At first, the son refused, saying that Zhanwan had never had a child in her life and had never taken care of a child, which was understandable, and that she would definitely be more careful in the future. But that night, the buffalo even called her son, saying that Zhanwan had a backache and was tired for the past few days, and could no longer pick up and drop off her grandchild, hoping that they would find another way. My daughter-in-law just smiled faintly, and the next day, she dragged her husband to my house to apologize. Mom, I know I was wrong, don't be angry anymore. Tam Duk bowed his head. That day I was angry, so I said nonsense. And didn't you force me too much? I didn't answer. He forced a few laughs and walked around my house, finally lying down on the new massage chair. Mom, I'm telling the truth, you've learned to enjoy life even more after your divorce. I saw this massage chair at the mall. It costs 8 to 90 million. You're really willing to spend it. I immediately blocked him. You got so much money from my dad. How can you spend it all if you don't buy expensive things? He scratched his nose in embarrassment. Mom, don't be mad at me anymore. Your husband doesn't need it, so does your son? Tran is your niece. How could you bear to leave her without anyone to take care of her? My daughter-in-law also spoke sincerely. Mom, it was because of Tam Duk that he didn't understand things before. I told him you have done a lot for our family. This time, something almost happened to Tran. I really don't dare to leave her in the hands of outsiders. Can you help us? I hesitated a bit. Mom has registered for senior college. She is busy from Monday to Friday. Look, if no one in Tran is there on the weekend, you two can send them here. The son's eyes widened. When did you sign up, Mom? Are you really going to study hard? I looked at him. Piano lessons. Mom just bought the piano. It will be delivered this afternoon. He frowned, about to say something, But his daughter-in-law pinched his hand and smiled. It's good for mom to go to college. It trains her spirit and relaxes her soul. I'll think about Zhenzhen's matter differently. 2 months later, I heard news about Shenzhizhou again, this time because my daughter-in-law brought her grandson to visit me, and they mentioned it during our conversation. When mentioning Tran Yuyan, the daughter-in-law's eyes turned cold. She put on the airs of a mistress, fixing up the whole house to make people lie. Now you're clinging to dad, demanding to register your marriage. Don't worry, mom. I've already told Tamduk to let him tell dad. We absolutely oppose them registering. Before, when mom was home, we just had to focus on work and didn't have to worry about anything. Now it's great. During the day when I go to work, I have to send Tran to a daycare center. Sometimes Duk is ordered around by her. After saying that, she rolled her eyes at me. I heard that dad hasn't agreed to register the marriage yet. The two of them have been arguing a lot lately. It seems like dad is still a bit sane. Playing is one thing, getting married is another. I couldn't help but laugh, and continued to focus on cutting fruit for my nephew. After all, everyone has their own stance. Different stances, conflicting interests, decisions naturally cannot be the same. I don't know why Tam Tri Chow is so hesitant to register their marriage, but for my son and daughter-in-law, opposition is understandable. Especially the incident where Tran Yuyan almost lost little Tran last time. She didn't blame herself but instead blamed the child for running around. If any mother witnessed this, it would be hard not to feel bad. What I didn't expect was that not only was Tam Tri Chow's family still lying like a bunch of bubbles, but he and Tran Yuyan were once again on the hot search. But this time was different, not all the blessings like last time, but instead a series of doubts. It all started when an old classmate of theirs saw the news and went to the comments section to express his feelings. Professor Tam and Tran Yuyan were truly the golden couple in college. Tuet was the one who had to bow her head to reality in the end. Each person was surprised. A few years ago at the class reunion, everyone mentioned the two of them with regret. Now seeing them reunited, what a surprise. A comment like a stone thrown into the water, stirring up thousands of waves. Netizens immediately began searching for information. After a few questions and answers, everyone realized the so-called true love is not about being together until old age, but about breaking up, starting a family, and then finally getting back together with the old love. Even Tran Yuyan has been through 2 marriages. Some people defend her. She is truly the white moonlight. After decades apart, meeting again still feels as emotional as the first time. If that's not love, then what is? But there are people who quietly type out each word. If the white moonlight is true love, then am I the only one who feels sorry for the professor's ex-wife? Another harsh comment said it bluntly. Previously, netizens showed off photos of the two traveling everywhere for decades. But according to old classmates, until recently the two were still married, so isn't that a mutual affair? Love and marriage are always hot topics for netizens. As soon as that comment was made, netizens immediately rushed to investigate, digging up all sorts of sources, synthesizing the words of acquaintances, and finally reconstructing the whole truth. From being praised to being boycotted online. Impossible. A famous medical professor's house also collapsed? It was truly an affair for decades. You guys who are crazy about love, stop defending. If you want to defend, then wish you guys to marry someone exactly like the professor. What white moonlight? Gives me goosebumps. This is not knowing that he is the third person but still doing it, and even doing it until old age. Please do not dirty the white moonlight. The moonlight can die but cannot rot in the middle. The last time I saw Chi Chow was in the hospital. My son called and said that Chi Chow had just had a big argument with Tran Yuyan, then fainted from too much emotion and was currently bedridden in the hospital. He said, "Mom, please love Dad a little. After all, we have been husband and wife for decades, so come visit Dad." I didn't plan on going, but I decided to come anyway, as if it was visiting an old friend. Tam Chi Chow lay on the hospital bed. His body was shaking. His face was haggard. His hair, which used to be streaked with silver, was now completely white. Seeing me, he gave a weak smile. "Oh yes, you still came to visit me, that's great." I thought this moment would somehow move me or make me feel moved, but strangely, in my heart there was only a vague, unfamiliar emptiness. He tried to reach out to me, following Tao. "Oh yes, I heard you said you are learning piano. If I get better, I really want to hear you play a song. Tiananmen, isn't it majestic?" It's a pity I can't go with you. If I have the chance, I really want to watch the flag-raising ceremony with you." I frowned. He coughed violently a few more times, then tried to continue. "Don't be so quick to refuse. Let me finish. I've been keeping these words in my heart for a few days now, afraid that if I don't say them today, I won't have another chance. Since you left, I don't know why, but I often see you at home. Just like that, you never left. I know I was wronged by you, and I have no face to ask for your forgiveness. I often think about that day when you asked me if I could not travel with Tran Yuyan anymore. If you hadn't lost your temper that day, if you had come to your senses at that time, would we still be the same now?" He recalled the conversation that day. My heart ached, as if being pulled back to that dark afternoon of that year, when I sat alone on the floor, crying my eyes out. I shook my head, slowly replying, "No, it's in your nature to be fickle." If he was honest, he wouldn't have gone on a trip with Tran Yuyan in 1998. Today he said he regretted it, but it was because the innocent him of the past had now turned into fake rice on the table. As for me, because I left in time, I became precious in his eyes. He was still the same, his whole life only knowing how to regret the things he couldn't have. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes and opened them again, his eyes filled with sarcasm and sorrow. "Yes, but oh well, we lived together for 50 years, don't you have any lingering feelings? Half a lifetime together, and there's not even a way to turn back?" I laughed coldly. "Shinjijo, can you turn back time? Can you give me back the 50 years? Why should I linger in a marriage full of betrayal? Am I that kind of lowly woman?" He also laughed, his voice hoarse. "Shinjijo, I have saved so many people in my life, but in the end I couldn't save myself, I couldn't even keep anything." I turned around, pushed open the door of the hospital room, and saw my son and daughter-in-law standing outside. The son softly called out, "Mom," then reached out to pull me back. The daughter-in-law pursed her lips, her eyes filled with unspeakable pain as she looked at me. Only then did I learn the reason why Shinjijo and Chanwan had their last fierce argument. Tran Yuyan came to find me again. She was still dressed neatly and had her makeup done carefully like last time. But her eyes no longer had the carefree confidence of the past. Instead, there was a thick layer of mist. She placed a glass of water in front of me. "Last time you said you weren't used to drinking coffee, this time I ordered water. You win, Mokvan." She smiled slightly, but her face was frighteningly pale. "Last time I said you got married to Tam Chi Chow, and I took away his love. Now I see it turns out I was too naive, I lost Mokvan. I'm leaving." I looked at her, picked up the glass of water, and took small sips. She continued, her voice calm but not without a trace of sadness. "Do you know why Shinjijo and I argued? People on the internet scolded me for not being old at all. He scolded me for being old and shameless, and for being a third party my whole life. I begged him, saying that I didn't need to register our marriage, he just needed to post a line online, saying that he and his sister had divorced 25 years ago. Just one sentence, one lie was enough to clear my reputation. But he refused. He would rather be disgraced than let others know that she and he were divorced." I almost burst out laughing. I wanted to scold her. It was clear she was a mistress all her life. She deserved to be scolded. But the words came to my mouth and I softened. There was no winning or losing. To be honest, she was just a loser in love. As for me, I wasted my whole life. Tran Yuyan left. Later, Tam Chi Chow did not die. But his health gradually weakened, and his memory also became worse. The doctor diagnosed Alzheimer's. He devoted his whole life to medicine, and his achievements were admirable. Towards the end of his life, he fell ill and his students came to visit him in groups, and the chief doctors of his departments gathered together to discuss his problems. But he gradually lost the ability to recognize anyone and remember anything. I continued to study hard in the adult university class, and the teachers praised me for my talent. I was able to play a complete song, and posted a clip online, which unexpectedly attracted quite a bit of attention. I started traveling everywhere. Even though I was alone, standing among the great buildings, I still felt my heart flutter. I took a flight to France to see the Eiffel Tower. Chow sat in a wheelchair wearing thick glasses, staring intently at the phone screen. That was the part where I was playing the guitar, the dream wedding song. The man had forgotten everything, but when he watched that video, tears kept falling, crying like a child. As for me, I was neither happy nor sad. The scene seemed like it was from a previous life. Before my eyes was a vast sky, and even Chow, who had been with me for half of my life, was now just a wild dream. A blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl smiled at me, using the same language as me to greet her. Hey, hello. I smiled back. I'm only 70. Even at 70, I can still start a new beautiful life. That's all for now. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more great stories. Goodbye and see you again.